Hello Nottingham College, my name is Daria. Today we'll be looking around Nottingham, documenting the rise of right wing in our city and how it impacts the locals.
Today we're here with Ross from Five Leaves Bookshop.
And we're discussing the right-wing hate in Nottingham, how it can affect local businesses. So, Ross, you've had two major incidents, including fascists trying to bring down your business. Would you like to go more into detail about that?
Okay, well the two major incidents, one was more recent, the other was in 94, sorry. The first of those in 94, between 30 and 50 fascists turned up at the bookshop I was then working in, Mushroom Bookshop in Hockley, which doesn't exist anymore, unrelated to do with that incident. And they tried to wreck the shop. 32 were arrested, 13 of them went to jail. Biggest impact on that was we had worldwide publicity because there are not many bookshops attacked on the middle of a Saturday afternoon when we were really busy, and there just happened to be a freelance photographer walking past. And a few weeks later, we had a demonstration of roughly 3,000 or 4,000 people in the market square against the far right. And it had a major impact, because the City Council provided us with facilities, it was raised in Parliament, and a lot of pubs that were happy to previously host far-right groups meeting stopped hosting them. So it was a bit of it was very damaging to the far-right itself, that attack. It got very bad publicity, and the long-term effect was good if you're an anti-fascist.
Do you think that there's been a rise of right-wing hate in Nottingham, or has it always been there? Like you said, there was previous incidences, but then there was also the pretty extreme one in 2020.
It comes and goes. It very much comes and goes. And it also depends how you define right. Robert Jenrick and people in Reform have come out with appalling right-wing statements. But they're democratic people. They're standing for election. That I wouldn't agree with a single thing probably they ever said, but they're not a direct threat to radical bookshops. They're not a direct threat to people of colour at this college. They're not a direct threat to LGBT people at this college or in the city. But they create an atmosphere which makes it perhaps easier for people to think refugees, LGBT people, people of colour, people who are different to themselves. It creates the circumstances in which hate will develop.
So would you say that you're worried or even anxious that another incident might happen like this in the future?
No, we're not. Because if we were worried, we'd be thinking about it all the time. The best thing that we can do, and that was discussed amongst our staff team, is to carry on doing what we're doing, providing a bookshop, doing lots and lots of events, carrying on as we would. We don't want to be cowed by the far right.
Do you think that there was any way that these incidences could have been prevented, or was it, inevitable, really?
The event in 94, it was probably preventable. The police were tailing this group of people and misjudged where they were going. They thought there was something else going on. So actually that could have been easily prevented. We knew those people were in town. We just didn't expect them to turn up at our place. They'd come for a gig that was cancelled. Oh. We knew the gig was cancelled. The police didn't know the gig was cancelled. So it's possible that that event itself could have happened. But at that time in the mid-90s and for the decade previously, there was a lot of far-right activity around Nottingham.
Has this affected your business financially? As in, have customers been wary or anxious to come in or not?
Well, of the two incidents I mentioned already that our turnover rapidly went up, over the second one, the first was so visible. It was on front pages of newspapers. I was getting contacted by people in Canada. It went international. And the shop was wrecked, so you couldn't hide that. But the response from customers was, in what way can we support you?
Well, thank you for coming in and speaking about this today, and thank you anyone watching.
The interview with Ross gave us a better understanding of how right-wing activities can actually affect locals, and we decided to invite Chris Tregenza,
to see how it affects the ones which constantly attend protests.
Hello Nottingham College, my name's Eleanor.
My name is Daria.
Today we're here with Chris Tregenza, a political photographer based in Nottingham. Hi Chris.
Hiya.
Hello.
How's your day been?
Oh, it's been very nice so far, apart from the weather.
Yeah. We're looking into far-right activity in Nottingham and how it affects the locals. So what's your opinion on that?
Far right is definitely on the rise, and it's a very serious problem. We see in Nottingham, around the city centre, we get occasional far right protests. I mean, just last year we saw some quite violent scenes in Nottingham city centre due to far right protests. And outside in places like Long Eaton, where there are asylum seeker hotels, we're seeing regular protests and intimidation taking place against both the asylum seekers themselves, but also the people who are working to support them. So it is a very serious problem, and it's a problem which is increasing.
Yeah.
Have you received any backlash from your photography?
Yes, it's a very long list of things, ways. I mean, I get obviously some abuse on social media, but quite often while I'm working, while I'm there at the protests, I will get people shouting abuse at me, threatening me and attacking me physically.
Oh, wow.
How did you get into this career path?
Sort of by accident, because I was involved in local politics and I just found myself doing a lot of the work, social media work. So I'd be taking photographs and little videos of events and posting them as part of the activism. And as I got more serious about my photographic work, it was the natural step to move from being an activist to being a political photographer.
Right. So what's the worst part about your job?
Standing around in the cold and wet. A lot of the work of both as a photographer but also as being involved in sort of what you might call street politics is that it's outdoors in all sorts of weather, and it involves standing around for 2 hours watching a protest when it's cold, it's wet, it's raining, and you really just want to be inside and doing something else entirely.
Have you ever faced any scary or disturbing encounters?
Yes, numerous times. I mean, I've been followed from a demonstration, so I've been photographing a far-right demonstration, and then as I've left the scene, people have followed me and then accosted me as I was half a mile away from the actual protest and, well clear of all the police and other things. But the nature of the far right is they don't like to be held accountable.
So to do with the far right, do you think that the numbers are rising, or do you think they're just getting louder?
The numbers are definitely rising, but there is a feedback loop. One of the big problems we have in this country is media ownership. So that's the people who own the newspapers, the TV channels and the social media channels. And nearly exclusively they are supporting far right or amplifying the voices. So it seems that there's a lot more far right people than there are because of that amplification. But that also feeds back into that it encourages people to also be far right, and people who once upon a time might just realise that what they think is racist and keep it inside their heads now feel enabled to speak out about it and to be racist, blatantly racist in public, and they feel they can do that without being held to account.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Chris, and thank you everyone for watching.
Also, we tried to do some vox pops, but due to the topic, no one wanted to answer the question. We only had one person willing to answer.
So how would you define politics?
I don't really know. I don't follow politics that much.
Overall, we found out that right-wing activities impact nearly everyone in Nottingham and may have potential risk of rising due to people having the lack of educational experience in politics.